Now, at first, I was going to do the entire broadcast tonight on the new information on Hitler's diaries that was in the Sunday London Times on December the 11th. I did broadcast on that, 3 broadcasts last May, and left it wide open. I felt that the continuity of the top Nazis who appeared in the story of the Hitler's diary was so important. So yesterday I spent about 12 hours outlining that and decided next week I would probably do the entire hour on it. The article was written by a woman, Gita Sereni, and she went to visit East Germany, United States, and spent the past 7 months looking up and meeting the people involved in this story. But just to tell you how tangled it is, the first Nazi story on the Nazi diary not only brought together Mr. Gert Heidemann, the fellow who had Goering's yacht, where he entertained Mr. Wilhelm Mohnke, M-O-H-N-K-E, the head of the Death's Head, the special group that provided a continuity of the Waffen-SS after the war for Adolf Hitler. He had Mr. Karl Wolff, who I wrote about in the Rebel article, and we'll do more about that. And he's friends with Wolff, and Wolff went down with Mr. Heidemann down to South America, and they saw Walter Rauff, and they were to see Mr. Bormann, Martin Bormann. And this news story has a more complicated interpretation. A man is in jail by the name of Mr. Kujau. His other name, Konrad Kujau, K-O-J-A-U. And he says that he wrote the diaries. He's in the jail because he wrote the diaries, but 3 years before he said he wrote them, they were in the United States in the hands of other people. And he's lying, but he's willing to stay there, and he won't tell who really did it. Now, the diaries were thrown out as not being real. About 20 were examined out of 60 diaries because the paper was used and manufactured in the 50s, the ink and paper. And they said, therefore, the diaries, even though they were authenticated by the Germans and top people like you, Trevor Roper, of British intelligence, as being real, the catchline was they can't be real because the paper and ink came later. They could be real if Hitler were alive, and there's a lot of unanswered questions. This article, the wave that we're getting on Hitler's diary, brings in his driver, Erich Kemke, K-E-M-P-K-A, who's the head of an organization called HIAG, so it sounds like Alexander Haig, and he was a member of the Waffen-SS, the elite group to protect Adolf Hitler. Hitler's driver is involved in this story, and he's funded with money from a businessman living in the area in Europe who gives money to the organization, who wants to buy the yacht and allegedly brings Heidemann in for that purpose. Hitler's pilot, Jan Brauer, is involved in this story. He meets with the SS. Currently, there is a birthday party for him, J-A-N-S-B-R-A-U-E-R. Wilhelm Mohnke, Hitler's chief of the SS, works and socializes with the Hague, that same organization of the Waffen-SS now, and with Karl Wolff and Mr. Heidemann. He's in here, and also Karl Wolff, written up in Operation Sunrise, and the story of the meeting of minds of Alan Dulles and Wolff, who was the liaison of Himmler to the Americans and was in charge of Treblinka and the concentration camps. He was killing masses while he was meeting with Americans in Switzerland. Walter Rauff lives in Chile, and Wolff and Heidemann went down to see him. Martin Bormann is down in South America, although in this London Times they say that he was in Spain and wanted to see Mr. Heidemann, that he was in Spain. There's another man, Wolfgang Schulze, S-C-H-U-L-Z-E, from Stuttgart, an attorney living in Florida. And Otto Skorzeny, of course, was a kingpin who traveled around meeting the Waffen-SS. There's another man, his name is Mr. Klapper, K-L-A-P-P-E-R, one of the highest Nazis of the SS, who is head of the Liebstandarte, L-I-B-E-B-S-T-A-N-D-A-R-T-E. Lieb, L-I-E-B, Stand, S-T-A-N-D-A-R-D-T. And that's part of that Haig group to maintain the Waffen-SS for 1,000 years. He's part of this, and a Fritz Stiefel, who's funding Kemke, Hitler's driver, and then another dangerous man, Jacob Tiefenthaler, who's part of the whole group,
Tiefenthaler, Tiefenthal.